Trying to get something. Shots! Got a Dartmouth skater in his back pocket. A ring around. Shot! Score! What a save! The senior making the play with a...
Amorosa, one-time shot, Buffalo the save, rebound free, Jacome again, Buffalo, miraculous save! He's lost his stick, he was caught on the ice, Amorosa shot, elbowed away by Buffalo. Save of the year by Devin Buffalo so far, and he's hearing it from the Thompson Arena crowd.
Yeah, what a save by Devin Buffalo. Looked like he was out of the play, and he just was able to see that puck and just made the save.
We're watching it again on the Ivy League Network. If you're following along, you just saw it as well if you're watching online. If you're
on one against Thompson, trying to hurry back into the play is Bradley. Howard, what a save in front by Devin Buffalo! He dove across and got the paddle down. That might be the save of the...
So that's a video I put together. If someone wants to chat back, are you seeing the PowerPoint now? Is someone able to?
Yep, we are.
Perfect. All right. So yeah, that was a video that I put together about some of my saves, and just to highlight. It's interesting because the interview there I did at my last year at Dartmouth, and it was from the Ivy League, and they were asking me questions about my background, and it was cool because in that video, or I included in that video because it shows me kind of not knowing what my future has in store for me, and I'm kind of speaking of what I want to do, and doing presentations now. I feel like I'm able to, accomplish that goal of hopefully inspiring some of you guys. And I like some of those clips because we always play Yale University, and they're in there, and it was always a heated battle. So I played at some cool schools, and so there we go. So today I'm just going to introduce myself, talk about where I'm from, and talk about Wanska Athletics, which is something I'm working on right now. And then we'll do a workshop. And if you guys don't have the worksheet, just follow along, and maybe your teachers can, hand it out after. So I don't know if you saw, so on my mask, I was always proud to be Indigenous. Wherever I went, I always wore my last name with pride, Buffalo. And as you can see, there are buffaloes on the mask there, and there's feathers, and on the back, there's a word that says Napegasowino. And the reason I have Napegasowino or Napegaso on my mask is a personal story I just thought I would share. I don't usually share this story, but today I will, because it is important. And so a few years ago when I was in high school, the first time I heard that word was I was at home, and I received a call, and it was from the hospital saying my older brothers were always very inspirational to me, in that they got pretty far in hockey, far enough that I always wanted to be like them. And like a lot of people, there's some choices that we make, and there's some unfortunate consequences for some choices, right? So this one evening, my brothers got into a car accident, and they were transferred to the Wetaskiwin Hospital. So we went there, and my one brother went by ambulance to the stall or to the U of A, and my other brother was getting airlifted. So we were kind of given an opportunity to see him one last time pretty well, to say our goodbyes. So I saw him, and he was already put into a coma, induced coma. And he had his neck brace on, his eyes were taped shut. And it was very, a memory I always remember throughout my whole life. And I think he could hear us, but, and my dad was talking to him. So I was wondering what my dad was saying to him. And what my dad told him was to, Napegaso. And he said, warrior up, be a warrior. It's not your time to go. Stay with us. You have a family. At that time, he just had a brand new daughter that was just born. So it wasn't his time. My dad told him to Napegaso, warrior up. So, and I remember a tear rolling down his eyes. I don't know if it was, there's water in his eyes, but to me, when I was a kid, younger, it seemed like a tear. So they ended up making a full recovery, but I always had that on the back of my mask, Napegaso, just to remind me, I played in some big hockey games. And after the national anthem, I'd always look at my mask. I would always have my parents' initials, D or PB and BL, and I would, that's a reminder of the sacrifices they made to allow me to, be here. And the last thing I would say out loud is Napegaso, and I would say that out loud, and people would see my face, and they would always think I'm crazy for talking to myself out there. But it was just it would put me in the mode to play hockey. So it was awesome. So I've used that ever since on all my masks. And so let's start at the beginning. I'm from Musquechies. I have 5 older brothers. 3 of them or 4 of them at one time are all goalies. So I was kind of, that's what I wanted to be, was a goalie. And I remember in grade, 3 or 4, my dad telling me that the NHL scouts were going to be looking at my transcripts and my grades, so they better be good. And I took that to heart. At the time, I was like, no way, they're going to be watching my grades. Since grade 3 or 4 is when I started really trying in school. Just basically, so when the NHL scouts came, my grades were A's. And after that, I started, to enjoy doing good in school. And I think that's important, because that's kind of who I was that, I felt good when I got an exam back and it was an A, and the teacher, wrote, great job, Devin, great job. I got addicted to that. it felt good inside. So I kept doing that, kept trying really hard in school. I went to school in Leduc. They had a hockey program, so I was lucky enough to go there. And what I found out was at the time, I don't know if it still happens now, but everyone was calling me a try hard, that term try hard. And I always, sat back and was like, what does that mean? Like, I'm getting picked on because I'm trying hard at my life. Like, I'm actually trying to make a difference and do well in school and, talk to the teachers, go to the teachers' meetings and get extra help. And I got picked on a lot, like to a point where I wanted to drop out of that school and just move back home. And I remember this one time I was in my, everything was kind of rough, and I was in school getting picked on, going to a hockey. I think I just got cut from the AAA team in Leduc, and that was a team I really wanted to make. So everything wasn't going pretty well. And I remember I broke down in my parents' vehicle, and I said, I don't want to be picked on anymore. I want to just be normal. I just want to, not be picked on. I don't want to be at the spotlight. I don't want to be smart anymore, is what I said. So my mom, I think she knew me better than I knew myself at the time. And she knew that that's not who I was. So I moved back to, I went to high school in Wetaskiwin and moved back there with all of my childhood friends. And that's what I did. I stopped trying in school, and my grades came down, and I stopped doing well on essays, stopped doing well on my exams, just so I could fit in, just so I could think I was cool. And the other kids in my class, it wasn't like I got by. And finally, I just had enough. Like, I literally doesn't feel good when you're not prepared for an exam, when you didn't study, when you didn't do your homework, and you get your results back, you know, what you put in is what you get back. So it's almost like I feel like school and education, high school, junior high, it's almost like a test for you, or a time where you're in school, and it really allows you to build that development, that character, who you are when you're going to be older. And for me, and for in school, you get instant results, right? If you go home, study, do your homework, you go and you will succeed on the test. And when you get that grade, it's almost like it's a result of your hard work, and it's like a real life experience for you in school. So I always thought that was interesting, and that you could literally put in the work and see by getting A's on your test. Oh, putting in the work works. So it's an early test for you guys to see that happen in your life. And so when I went back to that school, I changed my thinking. I was like, I don't care what people think about me. Like, you know, they don't have any impact on my life after high school or after junior high. Like, the thing is, when you're in high school, you think, this is it. This is all my life. Like, but once you graduate, what happens is, you know, it doesn't matter that, you know, no one keeps track of what you did in high school. Like, you know, it's a big world, you know. So what I'm saying is, that's what I learned, is that if I tried hard and was myself, and I got the grades I deserved, and I was proud of it and wore it on my sleeve, you know, it doesn't matter what people think. If they think I'm a nerd, if they think I'm a geek, if they think he's a tryhard, I let that go. That didn't matter to me. And I started to feel better about myself, happier. And there's this method that my dad taught me when I was a kid. And it might seem like it's very complex, and, you know, that stuff's for adults and not necessarily for me. Well, I learned this method when I was 13, 10, maybe 10 years old. And I've been applying this method every day of my life. And it's just a simple visualization method. Visualization is not a new method. Athletes do it. A lot of people do it. And so this method, my dad taught me, and he calls it a pre-memory of, you know, how he explained it to me was that you know, you can, if you've ever heard of the idea of, you know, positive thoughts, positive thinking, and it coming back to you in a good way. It's similar to that, but it's going one step further. And a memory, if you think of a memory is a image, or an image of an event that happened in the past, right? You might have a image of you blowing out candles at your 10th birthday. That's a memory. So a pre-memory, it's the prefix pre is means it hasn't happened, right? It's in the future. So you put 2 to 2 together, and you're creating a memory of your future. And that's a very complex idea, but it's a simple idea. It's very simple, and I've applied it to my life. Every day I apply it to my life. And I think that is a tool that all youth, everyone should, not even youth, everyone should apply. And what I call it is the Daywalker method. I kind of give credit to my dad, as he helped me learn this method. And Daywalker is his Nahio name. My Nahio name is Whitestone Bopessany. And so going back, when I was getting cut from these AAA hockey teams, I always wanted to make this AAA team, because I always saw kids come to school and they have the AAA jackets, and I was like, wow, that's cool. So this summer, I just envisioned and made this pre-memory of myself wearing a AAA jacket and putting it on and walking to class, walking into a classroom, and someone saying, oh, you made the AAA team. So I worked towards that, envisioned it. And in the fall time, I actually made that team, which was a tough team to make. I made the Leduc AAA hockey team. And making that team kind of shifted things, and I learned a lot. And by the end of it, I was getting a lot of junior A interest. You know, you always have a long-term goal. Long-term goal is always to make the NHL. I think that's everyone's dream when you play hockey. But your short-term goal, what are you doing next year? Or what are you doing at the end of this month? That's something that we can manage right now. And so my short-term goal was to play junior A hockey. And then I had a dream of going to play NCAA hockey in the States. That's something I wanted to do. Partly because I didn't have the opportunities to go in the big dub. We hear the WHL and the dub. I never had opportunity to go there, but that's okay. There's different avenues that you can take in an athletes or in in sports, playing NCAA or going college route it's a really great way to kind of look into. It's a late bloomer way. I was a late bloomer. I was always a short goalie. Didn't grow till I was 18. So if there's shorter people out there, don't worry. If you haven't hit your growth spurt, you'll hit it. So when I wanted to play junior A, I went out to Flin Flon, Manitoba. So I had to move away from home, and and at 18, that's when I moved away to play hockey. And that's not that young. You hear stories of like 15-year-olds moving away from home, 18, where like, I'm Indigenous. In our culture, I guess in our community, we have a pull towards home. It's almost like a gravitational field, like we're supposed to stay home. And it's very hard to leave that and to feel comfortable. And if you leave, a lot of times you come home right away without, being able to live your dreams. And what I've learned is that like most of it is just our own thinking. I think my parents, I think my grandparents, my aunts and uncles, they missed me, but they're happy if you go, chase your dreams. They're not going to hold you back or hold you back home. And I think that's a very important concept. So at 18, I moved to Flin Flon, played a year in the Saskatchewan Junior A Hockey League. I played a solid year, and I ended up winning Rookie of the Year of the whole league. So that put my name on the map. And then next year, my dream was to get my NCAA scholarship to go play in the States. And school started knocking on my door. School started like saying, I'm interested, watching me on tape, watching me. And a big part of that is my coach sending film of myself and talking to these schools on my behalf. And pretty soon a few schools were knocking on my door. This one day, my coach calls me into the office and he says, have you heard of Dartmouth College? And I said, no, I haven't. So he did a quick Google search, and the first line he showed me, it says Ivy League school. And let me tell you about like the Ivy League dream I had, because back in grade 9 or so, I wanted to succeed. And there was this one moment when I was playing midget AAA. There's this guy on the red line before one of our games and warmups, and he's like telling me to come talk to him. So I go talk to him thinking I know him, with a smile, not knowing that he's not going to be saying anything friendly. And what he says is, you're just another effing Indian. And he swore. He didn't just say effing, but he swore at me. You're just another effing Indian. And I was like, what? I can't believe it. I can't believe he just said that right before this game. And at the time, I didn't think of, reporting it. I just didn't know what to do. I was confused. Should I be mad? Should I be sad? Should I go punch him in the face? I didn't know what to do. So there was another player on the team, and I mentioned another Indigenous player, one of my friends, and I told him what happened. And he took it a different way. He was very angry, which it's very well, it's something to get angry about. And then he went and he two-handed the guy on his ankle, and it created this big line brawl. Everyone was fighting, and my friend actually got removed from the hockey team for his actions, but I don't think he told anyone what happened. Anyways, regardless, I made the decision there that I wasn't going to be physically, I wasn't going to, when racist events happen to me, I wasn't going to physically go and, put things right. I was going to go the other way and try show what we can do as people, that we're resilient, we're strong. And I was going to go the other route and show the best person I could show to people, show the best, my version of myself to coaches, and prove to these coaches, hey, this is like, I'm Devin Buffalo. I'm from Samson Cree Nation. I'm Native, and I'm going to be the hardest worker on this team. I'm going to have the best, attitude. I'm going to show the most respect. So when I did that, that was my dream. So there was two kind of things I wanted to show, like, make the NHL or play professional hockey. And the other thing I wanted to do was go to the best school I could. And, in the movies, they say Harvard University is the best school you can go to. And I was like, I want to go to Harvard. I remember I went to a school counselor, and I told her my dreams of going to Harvard University, and she laughed at me like and told me that was not possible, and said it was unrealistic. So I kind of listened to her and I put that on the back burner, but I never let that dream go. And when my coach had this in front of me and it said Ivy League school, and the Ivy League school, here, I'll show you. So the Ivy League is these schools: Brown University, Columbia University, Cornell University, Dartmouth College, Yale University, Princeton University, University of Pennsylvania, and Harvard University. These are pretty fancy schools in the States, pretty expensive, hard to get into. But, you know, it's important to make note that I always was a student athlete. So student comes before athlete in the word student athlete, and it's worded that way for a reason, or else it would have been athlete student. But it's called a student athlete, which means, and I learned at a young age, it's not, you have to fully develop your character as an athlete. If you're an athlete, if you're you know, if you're in the arts, if you like instruments, if you anything that's your thing, you can't just spend all your time just in that one little aspect. Like in hockey, if I just spend all my time with hockey and I was you know, disrespectful to my coaches, I wouldn't have made it anywhere. But since I was respectful and showed character, I was able to open up way more opportunities. And that's what I believe got me to these schools, was that I was a great student. You know, I was respectful. I had people like coaches and teachers that could write reference letters for me and say, Devin Buffalo is a great, excellent student and he respects everyone. That's what I want. That's what I kind of earned with hard work and, you know, presenting myself that way. And these schools are really hard to get into, but they're not impossible. And I think I proved that in Alberta, I've never even heard of some of these schools at the time. I only heard of Harvard, Yale, Princeton. And because I was, you know, because I succeeded in hockey, it opened the door to go play on a hockey team here, which opens the door to, you know, getting the exposure, and I had to do a few things to get in, but eventually I got into Dartmouth College, but I'll get to that soon. So I got into Dartmouth, and I'll go to this slide. So I got into Dartmouth in 2014. In my first year, it was tough because it's one of the best schools. And for 3 years, it's called a gap year. From the time you graduate high school to the time you go to university, those are your gap years. Some people most people go straight to university. When they go to university, they don't take gap years, but I took 3 to play junior hockey. So that was 3 years of not touching a pencil, not opening a book, just focusing on hockey. And I think I paid for that, because once I got into this classroom, handed a pencil, handed a book, I struggled. And it was very tough to a point where what I learned at Dartmouth, my coach, very smart guy, coached here for 20 years. He told me that your life is in balance. You know, it's all reciprocal. If you're doing good in your classroom, you know, you're happier you're happier outside the classroom. You'll produce better in the arena, on the field, in the court, and vice versa. If you're struggling on the ice, you know, you may be struggling in the classroom. So my first year, I go to Dartmouth. I'm supposed to be the starting goalie, and in the college year, you have 3 goalies on a team. So the first year, I was supposed to be the first goalie, and what happened is I wasn't, and I rode the bench for the entire year. I didn't get any opportunity to play, so that was tough. Thinking like, I'm gonna start every game and then go to the NHL. That was the goal. But this was like a humbling experience that, nope, you got to wait your turn. You got to earn your stripes. So, but what I ended up seeing was that I was doing terrible in school just because I had no idea what it was like to be at university. Going to classes, studying, doing your homework. There's a lot, and it's a lot of balancing. And I took a pretty tough course to start, and I didn't do so well. and then around February time, my hockey was kind of ending. The schooling was kind of not doing good. I was telling my parents, like, I didn't feel well there. Like, it's not who I am. It's not for me. It's not for our people. So I was like really doubting myself and doubting, this idea of the institution. And, it is a fact, like, Indigenous people, we're not supposed to succeed out there. That's like, it's designed that way. But, we can flip it and we can look at how different ways on, hey, I can succeed. I don't care, what anyone says, I can succeed. And that's what I kind of decided was to, at Dartmouth, get through it, try my best, but go home, recharge instead of dropping out of school, go home and recharge. I went home, recharged, saw family. September comes around. I'm like, all right, use my pre-memory, use my visualization, use the Daywalker method. I'm going to go be the starting goalie. And that didn't happen. And I didn't play. I only played a few more games. But the first game I ever played in NCAA, I remember we went on a road trip to Michigan University. And Michigan Wolverines is a big sporting school in the States. And they had a really good team. Kyle Connor, who's on the Winnipeg Jets, played on that team when I was there. And I went as a third goalie. I just went for vacation. Like, I was just chilling in the hotel room and eating good food and going to restaurants. And the first game, we played them 2 games. The first game, our top goalies played, and we lost 7-0. We got absolutely smoked. And the next day, when you get to high levels, your whole schedule is set, and you have to follow it. Your wake up alarm, they set it for you. You go to breakfast, you do this, they tell you when to nap, and then when to eat, what to eat. So for the breakfast, the top goalies actually skipped out and they didn't show up. Maybe they slept in, I'm not sure, but they didn't show up. And I was eating breakfast and at a table by myself, and behind me was the coach's table, and I could hear them talking. And they were saying, like, they were so mad that these goalies think they're better than the team and they have to, show them. And I remember my head coach kind of saying, I wish we had a third goalie. And I was like, well, I'm here, I'm here. Like, you do have a third goalie. And then he said, they kept talking. And the one coach was like, we do have a third goalie. His name's Buffalo. Like, Buffalo's here with us. It's like, oh yeah, I forgot Buffalo is here. And I'm just enjoying life. I don't want any responsibility yet. And then sure enough, I could hear him talking. I'm like, wait, that means they're going to play me. No, I don't want to play yet. I'm not ready. And sure enough, they wrote out the starting lineup. Buffalo is in net. And I'm like, holy crap. Like, but I'm not trying to show anyone I'm scared because then they'll doubt me. But I'm just a first-year goalie, second-year goalie, playing this game against a team that, smoked us with our best goalies. So I remember I called my parents, said, hey, you got to watch this game. I'm going to be playing in it, and it's my debut. So what I did was go back to the hotel room, put my headphones on, and visualize my game. And I visualized what color jerseys were they going to wear. And they were going to wear yellow jerseys. Who were their best players? And I remember who their best players were, what hands they shot. They shot right. I envisioned that cute girl in the crowd that I was going to envision. And I also envisioned NHL scouts in the crowd. And I also envisioned how I would feel stepping onto that ice, and I would feel comfortable and right, and I would feel strong. So game time comes around, and I step onto the ice, and I forgot how to skate. My legs were quivering. My legs, like, I couldn't stand. And I was like thinking, this is my debut. This is what's going to happen. I'm going to say I can't do it. And there was a part of me that was going to be scared and say, nope, I'm sick. But, I fought through it, and my legs were shaking during the national anthem. As soon as I got into that net, as soon as I felt that puck hit me, boom, my body remembers it. My mind remembers it. It's just another hockey game. All those emotions that I envisioned the night before, the nap, or just hours before, is what had happened. They were wearing yellow jerseys. There was that cute girl in the crowd. There was the NHL scouts were in the crowd, and I did awesome. And we tied them 0-0. And it was like a really awesome game. After that, I was like, all right, I'm going to start every game and go to the NHL. Nope, I did bad the next game, never played again for that year. And like, so that's kind of how, you know, sports happens. And you guys, it's like, you can only control what you can control. So what you can control, the good news is you can control a lot. Preparation. How do you prepare? So the NCAA, you have to write this exam called an SAT and an SAT2. I had to write these when I was playing junior hockey. And the reason I was prepared is because if a college coach comes and watches you and you don't have these done, they'll, you know, there's so many people trying to get scholarships. They'll just go, you know, to the next person who has that done. So I prepared myself to have that done, to have a score. And I was able to, you know, get my scholarship that way. We have about 7 minutes left. So I wanted to talk about Wansk Athletics. So Wansk Athletics is a project I always wanted to kind of create. And that is everything you guys just listened to. It's this idea of raising that bar for ourselves as Indigenous, whether you're an athlete, in this case, athletes, I'm an athlete, so that's what I speak on. But, you know, if you're a musician, if you're a painter, anything, gamer, so anything is to raise that bar, because, you know, Indigenous people, we have the intergenerational trauma. You know, I feel the effects of when my grandma went to residential school when she was 4 years old, and I feel those effects. And, you know, society also puts that on us, and it's a lot for our people to deal with and, you know, to cope with. And but we can rise above it. And as Indigenous people, we are strong and resilient, and that's how we have to kind of see ourselves. We can't see ourselves as the one image of us and following all the stereotypes that people tell us we are, right? Homeless, you know, suicidal rates, high drugs and alcohol, all these issues that we, you know, that are in our communities. That's what people tell us, right? That who we are. That's what people are telling us, that that's the way we have to act. No, that is far from the truth. We can, you know, rise above that. We can be successful. We can be strong and resilient. There's an image my dad showed me of one of my great grandfathers being proud of who he is. And that's kind of what I want to, you know, remind our youth, that we are strong and resilient and we can rise. So Wansk Athletics, Wanska meaning wake up and rise. That's a Cree word. So that's my belief, is that as athletes, we can wake up and show, instead of either buying into what people are telling us as athletes, you're lazy, you know, you have bad, you don't respect anyone, there's all these things that people tell us we are. But when we wake up and in our minds and realize, Wanska, wake up, we can be those top athletes. We can. And we're seeing that now with Ethan Bear on the Edmonton Oilers and all these, I just get shivers. I get shivers hearing that. So
What is calming, Kevin?
Devin, I think you might just be on mute now. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Am I unmuted?
No, I think we just muted everyone because there was a bit of background noise and it got to you too. Apologies.
Okay. Yeah, so you can hear me now? Perfect. Okay, so let's see. I'm almost done. We have 4 minutes. Right?
Yes, and in the chat box, students are saying they wish you could keep presenting on and on. So you're getting really great feedback.
So I'll just finish up here. I'll get to that worksheet we're going to do. So just quickly, when I went to Dartmouth, this is the elite schedule. So it's very structured. This is my month of October, going to school and also going to all these meetings every day, practice, workouts, meeting all the faculty. There's a lot here, and it's really easy to get overwhelmed. And sometimes I did, but I just took the time. You know, I meditate, I pray, I light some smudge. I can do this, reinforce that idea in myself. So I got, I was able to do it 4 years. I graduated. This is kind of when I went to Yale University, this is kind of what we did. Arrive at the hotel, wake up call, 9 a.m., breakfast, 9:30, pregame skate, pregame meal, check out of hotel. So everything, as you can see, is very structured. This is a schedule every day, a typical day at Dartmouth, 9 a.m. breakfast, 10 a.m. class 2, class 3, quick lunch on the way to goalie practice, team practice, dinner. And then I eventually would end up at library, but that at first I wasn't going to the library, and that's I think what hindered my performance in class. So we have a few minutes here. So the daywalker method, I want to go through this. This is going to change your lives, everyone. The daywalker method. So this is what the worksheet looks like. Short-term goal, I don't have the other worksheet, but if you have it, it says in the write-up, we envision two different realities. One reality is short term, the other reality is long term. So for the short term, we actually put ourselves in that reality. So whether, I'm talking to students today, so you're in the classroom. If you have a big exam coming up, I'll do a quick example. If you have a quick exam coming up, your short term goal would be, let me see, like get like an 80% on the exam. Maybe that's what you really want, 80%. What do you see? My grade when the teacher gives it back to me. What do you hear? I hear the other kids, talking about their grades and doing what they do. What do I feel? I feel my elbows on my desk. It's cold. That's what I feel. What do I smell? I smell the cafeteria cooking up some food. So this is something you could do every day, and all your goals you could write down. This is a hockey one that I did. Long term. Maybe you want to go to college. Maybe you want to go to university. You do the same thing. What do you see? I see my letter of acceptance. Awesome. I'm going to show that to my parents. What do I hear? My parents like being really happy I got into college. What do I feel? I feel good about myself. I feel confident I could do anything. Smell. I smell the letter. I guess paper has a smell. So I went through that rather quick. This is what I saw when I was a student. What do I see? I always saw these gates of a university. What do I hear? I'm going to university, so I hear kids, and they all are from all over the world. So they all have accents. They all speak different languages. That's what I hear. What do I feel? I feel, if you've ever done homework on the grass, it's kind of nice, right? You feel the grass, you feel outside. So that's a nice kind of image. What do I smell? The smell of books. And old books always have a smell. And I always envisioned. And it's funny, when I went to Dartmouth, that's exactly all I saw. Like, it's a movie. I just made myself a movie. What is maximizing my potential? Preparation, always be prepared. You never know when your opportunity is going to come knock on your door. So you always want to be prepared. When it arrives, it's okay to be scared. It's okay to be uncomfortable, but jump on it. Put yourself out there. It's scary. I know that. I was scared. There was a lot of times I didn't get on the plane to go to my school, but I jumped on the plane. And when I got there, your thinking is always, worse than what it actually is. What I learned. Evaluate your expectations. It's always good to evaluate what you expect of yourself. If your expectation is is low right now, that's all right. We can always put it up, because it's just a mental mental expectation of yourself. So if my expectation is to go to school every day, that's an easy expectation. That's fine, right? But if I even raise that up higher, I'm going to do some studying at home, not just go to school, but I'm going to study at home. Keep raising that expectation of yourself. Warrior up, Napega Sowino. I read this on top of my grade 5's whiteboard. Reach for the moon. Even if you miss, you will land among the stars. Reach for that moon, because I reached for the NHL, even though I didn't play in the NHL. I landed just close, and it opened up so many opportunities in my life. And I graduated from an Ivy League school. I moved on. I actually just applied to law school, so I'm looking forward to that. Put yourself out there, dream big, and you'll be successful, and you'll be, far. So with that, I think it's 1:46, 1 minute overpass. So I kind of went fast at the ending, but I hope everyone loved it, and I loved. It always feels good to try to inspire. So hopefully I inspired a few of you guys. Thank you very much. Hi.
Great. Thank you so much, Devin, for your time. That was an amazing presentation. I think that we should all give Devin a little round of applause if you want to turn your mics on or keep them off, whatever you're doing. Amazing. We should get to everyone's questions because there's so many. Thank you for the cheers. It was so wonderful. I'm just going to send, once again, as a reminder, the Google form one more time in the chat box, and then I promise that's it to fill out. But thank you again so much, Devin, for this presentation. It was wonderful.
Yeah, so if you guys had questions, actually, here, I'll put my email. Oh. How do I do everyone? Write down this email, send me questions, because I just saw one, like, why did I choose Flin Flon? I love talking about that. It's kind of, I don't have the time right now because we have to move on, but there's a big story with why I chose Flin Flon. So if you want to reach out, I think that was what,
if you want to answer one question, my personal favorite that came from the vid was, hey, Devin, do you ever get the feeling like, wow, that's me? Do you ever get that feeling?
I think so. I think it's, I had a really high expectations of myself growing up, really high. And if I didn't reach those, I always felt like I didn't accomplish anything. So sometimes I really do, have to like look at the big picture. And I think it's important because when you're in the moment, right, you don't think you're accomplishing. It's like, it's easy to think of the hard things. It's easy to think of the struggles, and you don't think of the little successes you have every day. So when you look at it a big picture, and that school is important because, we're talking to students and you think the whole world is revolving around you in this classroom, and like little things, they're the end of the world, right? You don't do good on a test. You think, oh my God, I'm never going to be successful, or my friend, I'm having a fight with my friend. Like in the big picture, this is just a little part of your life, a little section. It's a little story that you'll be telling, like me, like I am telling my story. And then you're out of that box, you're on to the next story. And then your life's just a little bit of stories, and it's what you do in the middle, in between those stories, how you write it. And what I'm saying is that you do write, you're the author of your, of your experience. So we all have the power to do that.
Amazing. Thank you so much. This has been amazing. For everyone else in the Zoom meeting, just a reminder that we will be meeting back into the main Zoom. So if you go to the agenda and click the Zoom link in there, that's how you'll get to our final session.
Awesome.
Great. Thank you, Devin.
Thank you, Devin. It was nice hearing your story. My nephew's a big fan of you.
No way. Awesome. Thank you.
I can tell him I finally met his favorite player of hockey.
I'm just...
He's been asking, so have you met any soccer players lately?
What's that? Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you.
I appreciate that. That means a lot to me. I'm just getting emotional. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Have a good day.
You too, Alyssa. Bye.
All right, I'll be ending the meeting now. Thank you everyone so much for joining us. It was wonderful this afternoon.
Cool. Thank you. All right.
I'm from Muscochis. Samson.